Hi, I'm Underbelly, and you suck at mixing. Comparing yourself to other people can often make you feel inadequate, especially when it comes to your shit song. That's why in today's lesson, we're going to learn how to use reference tracks to establish a target for how we want our mix to sound like. Let's get started. Okay, so check it. Now that we're done writing and arranging our shit song, it's time to mix it down. But how do we know what our mix should sound like? Well, we could try using our ears and what we think sounds good, but when has that ever worked, you dingus? Instead, utilizing a couple different reference tracks and placing them within that same project can help inform the target of what we want our mix to eventually sound like. Now, these reference tracks don't have to be the exact same thing as your shit song. In fact, they don't even necessarily have to be in the same genre. All they have to do is frame the target around which we want our shit song to sound like. Take this first shit song, for example, this first reference track. I know that if I'm playing this side by side with my shit song, and if my shit song ever gets to the amount of treble that this reference track has, I know I've strayed too far from my target. So let's just take a listen here. That's a lot of treble in my opinion. So I never want more treble than that reference track. With this reference tracks, I felt it just had too much sub. There's too much there. This one's too kicky. It's too kicky. And finally, this one is just too fucking goddamn lo-fi. I'll just clean that shit up. Now, I know if my shit song ever gets to be more lo-fi than this song, or more kicky than this song, or more subby than that song, or more trebly than this song, I know I've strayed too far away from my target. My target is somewhere in the middle of these four reference tracks. Now, first off, let's just compare the volume of my shit song to these four tracks. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Let's compare it to this one. Holy shit! Okay, now look at these fat sausages. How am I ever supposed to compete with that sort of loudness? Now, you might be telling yourself, Underbelly, well, we can just take all the four of these shit songs and just turn them down using the track volume faders. And I say nonsense. It's not going to give us an accurate read. We want to take the loudness completely out of the equation and match the loudness of each of these four reference tracks to our mix down as closely as we can. And to do that, we're going to be using loudness meters. Now, this is a free plugin that you can download. It's called the Yulin Loudness Meter. And what it shows us is the average loudness of the song over time. So if I just listen to my shit song over here, looks like the integrated LUFS, the loudness, is at -19. Now if we compare that to my first reference track, let's take a listen here, see where we're hitting here. Holy shit! Now this is all the way up at -7, so let's go ahead and bring a utility on there before the loudness meter. Bring the gain down. I'm just gonna guess -12, and let's just take another reading here. Okay, awesome. Now we're at the same LUFS value as my shit song. It's pretty damn close. Cool, and now let's go ahead and do that same thing for the other three reference tracks. So this one, I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna guess it's like -14. Let's go ahead and exit that. Okay, pretty damn good. I'm gonna say maybe -13 here. Oh, nope, -14. Never mind. Let's move on to the next reference track here. I'm just gonna guess once again. Say -14 for this one. Okay, that's pretty close. Let's do, say, -13. We want to hit -19 on the LUFS reading. Okay, perfect. And let's finally move on to the last one. Now, this lo-fi one is just a little bit quieter than the other one. I mean, that sausage just isn't nearly as thick. So I'm going to do -10 on the utility. That's pretty damn close. Somewhere around there. And now, if I compare my shit song to these reference tracks, they're all at around pretty much the same loudness, okay? And that's very good. And now I'm able to compare what really matters. I'm able to compare the overall tonal balance and mix of our song without getting caught up as to the girth of our sausage, because it's not really the girth that matters, okay? It's the length. Now, if I just compare my shit song to each one of these reference tracks, and if I'm noticing something consistently lacking in my shit song compared to all four of these, then I know we really have a problem and I'm not conforming to society in the way that I need to be. So I'm just noticing that my shit song is just consistently, that piano is just consistently too dull compared to all my other stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put an EQ on my piano, make it a little bit brighter sounding. Just compare that. That's just a little bit brighter on the piano. And now we're getting a little bit closer to my reference tracks. Wowzers. And I'm noticing that there might be a little bit too little bass here in my track compared to the references, so I might bring the bass up just a little bit in my track as well. Might be a little bit too much mid-range in my bass, but you get the idea. Every once in a while you're working on the mix of your shit song, just compare it back to these four, your beautiful reference tracks at every step of the mixdown process, and even when you're mastering. Because the reference tracks are going to always help inform you as to the direction you're going. Even if you're mixing in headphones and your shitty ass Apple earbuds, if your tracks, all these tracks are gonna suck in your shitty ass earbuds or headphones, and you want your shit song to suck in the same way, okay? Check it. Okay, so check it. Now, some of you might be telling yourselves, hey, Underbelly, I'm a unique individual whose music is God's gift to the world. I don't want to use reference tracks because I don't want to sound like everybody else. Well, first off, you probably already do sound like somebody else. And second off, think about how music is discovered in 2018. Chances are, and this is if you're lucky, you're probably going to be placed on some sort of Spotify playlist or something of that nature. And if your shit song sounds radically different from everybody else in terms of the amount of treble you have, or how much bass you have, or how loud or quiet your mix is, then chances are you're probably going to get skipped over. And that's the end of your career. Okay? It's very hard to know where you're going if you don't know where you're going. I'm Underbelly. Have a great day.